Hello aspirants, looking at editorials and question bank for 22nd November. The first editorial in the Hindu newspaper is regarding the Indore-Patna Express derailment in which 14 coaches were derailed. 146 people have lost their life. Death toll is increasing. There are many more injured and in hospitals presently. So this is a huge disaster which has occurred. Plus in India we see that over the last 4 years as well, on an average 50 derailments take place every year. And they have gone as high as even 63 derailments in a year. So Railways has already set up committees on railway safety. Anil Kakodkar Committee on Railway Safety gave its report in 2012. Even Vivek Debroy Committee on Railway Management gave its report in 2015. So these recommendations which have been given, they would result in huge expenditure as well for the railways, but they have to be implemented to make sure that railways are safe, because a huge number of passengers use it, and death with such derailments which can be avoided with better technology, better efforts in place, they have to be brought in. So this is what it talks of. Basically there is a requirement to even investigate the cause for this derailment, because 70% of the times it is seen that the reason is human failure. So if there is a human failure, then there is a need for more better standard operating procedures in place, better training to these people who handle railways, to make sure that such errors do not take place, human errors do not take place. So there can be even computerization of various aspects too, like there are recommendations, we'll look at them too. So like this you can see is the derailment which took place. So the committees which have been set up so far too. Then these are the recommendations of the Anil Kakodkar committee. It spoke about the inadequate performance by the railways because of poor infrastructure, insufficient resources and lack of empowerment at the functional level. So this was managerial level recommendations given. Then it suggested adopting advanced signaling system. So what is this advanced signaling system? That humans should not give suggestions on when the train is arriving or the arrival times, but this communication should be through advanced signaling. So this is an advanced, even computerized technique is used, so you can get real-time data about where the rail is, means where the train is, to make sure that even if a train is delayed, its correct position can be estimated and disasters can be avoided. So this advanced signaling system is already in place in European countries. It is present in some stretches in India as well. So it has to be brought in the entire track in India. So that was a recommendation. In 5 years it should be done was the suggestion given, and it said it would cost around 20,000 crore rupees. So this of course has not been completed. Even another suggestion was elimination of all manned and unmanned level crossings. So we see railway crossings, level crossings are also there. So all of them, whether they are unmanned or manned, they should be eliminated. They should all end. So this should also be done in 5 years, and this is estimated to cost 50,000 crores. Then another suggestion is switching over from integral coach factory design coaches, means ICF design coaches, to a much safer LHB, Link Hoffman Bush design coaches. So these are German design coaches which are produced in India in Kapurthala, and they are used in high speed trains like Rajdhani and Shatabdi trains. But then the committee is recommending that complete switchover of ICF from ICF to LHB should take place. So this has not been done. So this is another suggestion. We'll look at the specific features of LHB coaches too that make them much safer too. Then the other committee, Vivek Debroy's committee, that was more on managerial aspect. It gave its recommendations in 2015. So it spoke of rationalizing, because there are too many zones and divisions in railways, so they have to be rationalized. Also there is a need to decentralize and give authority, powers, functions to zonal heads. Then even the zonal construction companies, it says, should be brought under a single umbrella of other PSUs. So this will also help in speeding up projects. Then it talks of big stations should be managed by gazetted officers. It also recommends setting up a Railway Regulatory Authority of India. So this will have a separate budget and statutory backing independent of the Railway Ministry. So this will ensure that it can provide a level playing field. It will have quasi-judicial powers too. So it can provide its adjudication on private players also in railways. So these were some of the suggestions given. Now looking at LHB coaches too, the specific characteristics which make them safer. So LHB coaches are anti-telescopic, which means that they don't flip in case of derailment. So that is flipping over, means turning turtle, ulta ho jana. So that will not take place. They have this specific design which makes sure that they don't turn turtle. Then next is these LHB coaches are made of stainless steel as compared to ICF coaches which are made of mild steel. So the stainless steel provides them much more shock absorbing capacity. So disaster intensity is drastically reduced. Also, LHB coaches use disc brakes. So this allows for shorter stopping distance than ICF coaches. So stopping can also be quicker. Brakes can be quickly applied and accidents prevented. The next is coupling system in LHB coaches. So the coupling system between the various rakes, the coaches, is such that the relative motion between the two coaches can be reduced when brakes are applied. So this will ensure that they don't turn over each other and turn turtle too. So this is also prevented. And finally, LHB coaches have shorter wheelbase. So this ensures that they can easily navigate sharper curves at high speed. So these are specific features making them safer, and that is the reason why it is recommended that Indian Railways should completely switch over to LHB coaches. So this is there. So this is the recommendations which we see which have not been implemented, and we are seeing disasters in the country presently. Also another point which it is talking of is medical facilities, because once disaster has occurred, next thing which is required is immediate medical attention. So that is also not well developed, which results in further aggravating the disaster. So that aspect also needs to be looked into, especially in rural areas in public healthcare system in India. So this is the first editorial. The next editorial is DRS clears the test. So this is actually not relevant and part of the syllabus, but we'll just look at it. The decision review system, DRS system, which is used in cricket. So because the umpire cannot be always correct, there is human error which has the leeway, the human error is possible. So to ensure that this human error is eliminated, DRS system, decision review system, was put forth, but then it is seen that India did not accept this. So presently Anil Kumble was part of this audit team 2 independent audit which was conducted by Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT from USA. So in this also it was shown that human error and human intervention can be drastically reduced even with advancement in technology presently in DRS. So DRS, when we had rejected it, now it has been completely improvised and better technology is available. The more number of frame rates are available from the cameras. So this ensures that you can clearly see when what happened. So more details can be seen. So the decision review system now is much more efficient, and India should change its stance. It was the only country which had rejected using DRS. So now there is a chance. It has said that it would use in the next match. So there are chances that India would wholeheartedly accept this, even considering that Anil Kumble was involved in this complete audit going for DRS system. So that is the editorial, not actually part of the syllabus. The question bank then. So the lead article today is on post-truths. We have already seen this. This was Oxford Dictionary's word of the year, post-truth. We saw this in news. So it means that when policies take a backseat and appeals are made in politics to emotions, appeals to emotions, and facts take a backseat. So this was what we saw during Donald Trump's campaigning for presidential elections too, and he won the elections as well. So this post-truth term has become quite prominent. Even Brexit, which became a reality, which was not expected to take place, so that was also said to be because of post-truth, that appeals were made to emotions of protectionism, and it actually became a reality. So these are the points. So again, those are the philosophical aspects covered there. So I have ignored the lead article. Another article which is there is on land acquisition. So you should remember we have already done a complete article on land acquisition, because land acquisition bill which is pending in the center parliament is difficult to be passed. So the central government has suggested that states pass their own land acquisition bill. So that was an article against that initiative and completely detailed out. It is covered in 2nd November question bank. So this article in today's newspaper is for states being given the initiative that they should have their own land acquisition bills passed. So this is, the Land Acquisition Act is already in place. So central government's law has precedence over state government laws. So amendment to this land acquisition bill is difficult to be passed in parliament presently. So what the government wants to do, the central government also wants to do, because land acquisition is important to ensure foreign investments come through. Because we see that is one sticking point which everybody points out to who wants to invest in India. So that's why land acquisition being facilitated, then the center has asked states to form their own land acquisition laws. So whether such an initiative can take place, whether it is constitutionally allowed or not, was a question. So present article puts in some points that as states are at different levels of development, so land acquisition will take place differently in different countries. In better developed countries, it will be easier. So such are the justifications given, but what is constitutionally allowed or not is the point. So complete discussion is done. You can go and look at 2nd November question bank. The article which has been picked up for the question presently is one article which talks about the cashless economy which the government is suggesting. So the question framed is, the demonetization initiative has been termed as a logical step towards India becoming a cashless society. Discuss the benefits and hindrances of a cashless economy. So the present article, I should tell you, is talking against cashless economy. So there are many points on that perspective, little points on cashless economy pro perspective, but then I'm sure that there will be more articles coming in which will talk in favor of cashless economy too. So when we merge both, we'll have all the points. So presently what has been covered in this article, I'll put forth. So this point, the question which has been framed, this was the statement given by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. He said that the demonetization initiative is a logical step towards India becoming a cashless society. So now the case for cashless society, so it says that it will help in black money elimination only if it is in terms of cash, but it also says that majority of black money is in form of gold and real estate, then that cannot be tackled with this cashless economy point. So that is there. Then another point it put forth is that about cash is majorly used for illegal activities. So illegal activities like corruption, drug trafficking, human trafficking, extortion, money laundering, illegal tax avoidance, all this is possible only through cash. So cash payment can only be made. You cannot make a check payment or an online payment, because then you have to give a reason and whom you are giving, why are you giving. So that comes out in the open. So that's why if cashless economy is actually made a reality, then it has many benefits, but whether it is practically possible or not is another point. So that is there. Then another aspect is it will remove savings from which the people hide in their under their mattresses or in their homes. It will bring into the formal economy, and that will help in boosting the banking system and the economy as such too. So that is a benefit. You will remain safe from burglars, because people, thieves cannot come in and loot your house with cash because you don't have cash. But that is a very irrelevant point, because then they can loot your jewelry or other commodities which you may have. And even if you are having cashless transactions and all your money is in bank account, that also is not safe. There are hackers too who can hack into your accounts. So of course that is another point. And another last point, and another minor point which is put up, is that cashless economy is good for hygiene too, because the kind of banknotes which we come across, they have many germs with which they are contaminated. So that is another point. So anyway, these are such just funny points. You don't need to actually write in answers. Maybe the author put forth to ridicule the idea of cashless economy. Anyway, we'll avoid that. The case against cashless economy, which it has completely built up, these points are here. So it says that Sweden is the leader in cashless transactions. It started its cashless journey in 1960s, but even today cash dominates. So there is 2.212% of GDP in Sweden which is in terms of cash. So it cannot be complete elimination of cash, that is for sure. In India, the share of cash is 11.5% of GDP. Then another is cash remains the dominant form of payment in all matters. It empowers the millions of unbanked families which we have in India. So of course that is a precursor. Unless and until you don't have banking, financial inclusion, that we say. Financial inclusion means every person should have a bank account. Unless and until we cannot ensure that, cashless economy cannot be implemented. So of course that is important. Then another is the transaction fee which is charged on electronic payment method. So that fee which is not there in cash transaction. So we saw in today's news also that this transaction fee and the taxation which can be imposed on high amount, high denomination, high amount cash transactions was a suggestion of Niti Aayog. So that is a point here also, that there are transaction fees on online payments, electronic payments. So that is also a negative point in favor of cashless economy. So this can also be taken care of actually. Then cash provides a degree of privacy. So what are you paying for whom are you paying? You may have your own personal privacy. So cash gives you that, but if you are doing online payment, then it can anytime be known. So even the government does surveillance. So this big brother surveillance by government too. This also has all the consumer data with them. So this is also your data at risk, your complete detail of bank transactions with the government. Then also hackers, as I said earlier, can hack into your accounts. So that is also a risk. So this issue is basically of readiness for transition to cashless economy. So in India presently 85% of transactions take place in cash because millions are still unbanked. So that is of course true. So of course it is a gradual process, and even government is not in a hurry to bring in cashless economy at the stroke of a midnight like the demonetization initiative, but it is a step, it's a gradual process. So of course it is a welcome initiative, but we have to be ready for that. So there is another point put forth here. It says that, which you may or may not write in your answer, because there is no connection between cash based economy and illegal activities, and even black money and tax evasion. So it says, why is Japan, which is having high cash GDP ratio, not considered as a haven for black money, while Brazil, which is having a low cash GDP ratio, has a reputation for corruption and illicit wealth? So it is trying to put forth that there is no connection between cashless economy and black money. So that is a point. But of course, how much is the truth in this, that has to be investigated. So even the article is saying investigate about this point as well. So there should be questioning done, investigation done, brainstorming done, and then we can move forward to cashless economy, which is of course true. And then another point is that banks are laden with high non-performing assets. So banks may collapse, like we saw the global financial crisis, the Lehman Brothers style meltdown, which happened in US. So if something like that happens, then what happens to your money? So these are also points which have to be considered when you talk of cashless economy. So these are the points. So that is it for today. Thank you.